And 9 o'clock tonight.
Great, Allison, thanks. We look forward to it. And now more news from the race for president. As I said last night, President Obama put his spin on the choice facing American voters. And he wasn't the only one. NBC's Steve Handelsman explains.
The Republican frontrunner was targeted after the State of the Union by South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, chosen by party insiders to give the Republican response.
During anxious times, it can be tempting to follow the siren call of the angriest voices.
Haley confirmed today she includes Donald Trump, who she called a friend.
And so what I would say to Mr. Trump is, don't take it personally. This is just something that we learned in South Carolina that I'm passing along.
But Trump had retaliated on MSNBC.
I'm leading in South Carolina by a lot in all of the polls, and people agree with me. I'm very strong on illegal immigration. She's weak on illegal immigration.
President Obama last night slammed Trump and most Republicans.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
Look at that.
Trump fired back with statistics.
The median income for people is lower now than it was when Barack Obama took office. You look at the African Americans, I mean, they're doing worse than they've ever done, and we have an African American president.
My guests are Democratic political analyst Jesse Mermel and Jeff Simone, Executive Director of Massachusetts Young Republicans and a former candidate for U.S. Congress. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Which Obama did you hear last night? Did you hear the echoes of great rhetoric of earlier days, or somebody just dropping the mic and taking a victory lap?
A little bit of both. I heard a matured Barack Obama from 2008. There was that hope. There was that inspirational rhetoric that I think we all fell in love with 8 years ago, but with a bit of maturity and experience mixed in. And then there were lines like, you know, if you don't think we're that tough, ask, oh my goodness, the terrorist.
Yes, Osama bin Laden, thank you.
Ask Osama bin Laden. You know, that was a little bit of a mic drop line.
Yeah.
So I think he mixed two styles in there, which, you know, is his prerogative. He's the
Jeff, what
president.
about Nikki Haley, Governor? She also sort of picked up on the anybody but Trump role here. Is it fair that she's getting so much blowback today from conservatives and other Republicans?
I don't think she's getting much blowback other than from Trump himself.
Well,
she nailed that rebuttal speech. She nailed pretty well.
Yeah.
She got a lot of praise for that, and you can look for big things from her down the line.
Do you think there's been some talk about her being a vice presidential candidate? Do you think this solidly puts her on the not Trump, but maybe somebody else?
Yes, without question, absolutely.
She's probably off Trump's short list after last night.
You know, I can't think of a time when a sitting president so clearly called out a Republican, or actually anybody from the other side who was running with such a large field. Can you?
I can't, but I also can't think of a time that the party on the other side, in this case the Republicans, have been spewing such hate and such negative rhetoric that's really bad for our country. And I think the president feels that very deeply and said, I'm going to break from tradition and step up and say something.
You know, what was interesting about his final State of the Union, and I'm happy as a Republican to say it was his final State of the Union, it was a perfect encapsulation of his entire presidency. Lots of soaring rhetoric, straw man arguments, false choices, followed by complaints about why we're so divisive. Basically 7 years in 1 hour. And a lot of Republicans, this is what we find very off-putting. You know, the choice between, well, we nation build everywhere or we're complete isolationists. And if you don't think that's the right thing, then, you know, the president thinks it's the right thing to do. It's a really off-putting way to present the argument.
I've got to push back on your characterization of it as a complaint on his part. I think he owned it. He said that this is one of the things he truly regrets about his past 8 years. And both he and Nikki Haley pointed to both parties really needing to step up, own things that have gone wrong, mistakes in the rhetoric and the relationship building, and find a way to move forward together. I don't think it was a complaint.
I don't doubt that he regrets that. I don't doubt that he regrets that. But he did it again last night with more, you know, putting that false choice and straw man argument in
Let's
front
talk a
of
little
the
bit
nation.
more about relationships. The relationship between Hillary Clinton and Bernie, the Bern, has certainly taken a turn. You know, Clinton is saying everything's fine, everything's good, I'm feeling all right. What do you think she's really thinking?
So I'm a Hillary Clinton supporter,
Right.
full disclosure, and I would encourage everyone to join me in taking a deep breath. You know, let's think back to 8 years ago now. Every single poll, I went back and looked today, every single January poll leading up to the New Hampshire primary had Barack Obama up and up big. I mean, some up by 10, 12, 13 points. Hillary Clinton won by almost 3 points, and we all remember that turned that final weekend. So
Jeff, what do you
let's
tell
take a deep
her?
breath.
Say you're in charge of Hillary Clinton's campaign. What do you tell her?
The funniest thing about, I can't even think of anything, 'cause I'm not a Hillary Clinton supporter, but what I found fascinating is what Bernie Sanders has actually been able to do. His fundraising operation is fantastic. No big money behind him. It's all small donors that he can go back to again and again. And he is absolutely, the Clinton's people should be very scared.
You know, as much as the Hillary Clinton campaign doesn't want to talk about Bill Clinton's past, and I think that most media has sort of decided to focus on just one issue in Bill Clinton's past. Has Trump done, you know, he's the one pushing it, he's the one pushing a lot of things, obviously. Has he done Bernie Sanders a favor by reintroducing this conversation?
I don't think so. It's a conversation that has never hurt Hillary Clinton in the past. I'm not sure why we would think it would now, particularly because, you know, Bill Clinton's not running for
Well, one reason
president.
was because the millennials
Yeah.
have not experienced this, and they're voting, and, you know, she's got Lena Dunham and all these young women.
True. But the other thing is, it has opened the door to talk about Mr. Trump's very interesting personal past. And so I don't know that it necessarily helps Bernie Sanders, but I think if Donald Trump is the nominee, this may come around and bite him come general election time, because those voters are very different from the folks who say caucus in Iowa.
There's one very big voice that has remained silent in this whole discussion, and that is Senator Elizabeth Warren. And if Bernie Sanders continues to gain momentum and starts possibly thinking about a running mate in Senator Elizabeth Warren, that will be a game changer. And you can look for the feminist side of the Democratic Party to come out in favor. This is a real issue. It's been 25 years since Bill Clinton was in office, and during that time, our social discussion has changed dramatically, especially with millennials who have never experienced the litany of Clinton scandals
Should
that
she be
we all
doing a
know
better
about.
job? Can't you do a better job in the art of addressing the issue itself, rather than shutting down people at forums?
I don't see why she would change paths right now. I think she can do a better job of appealing to millennials, and part of why you see Lena Dunham and Abby Wambach out there on the campaign is because she knows that that's important, but I don't think it's related to all this ancient Bill Clinton stuff.
Thanks to both of you. See you again soon. Next, a man who has shaken a whole lot of hands on the campaign trail, and he's not even running for president, but he has lots of friends who are. Stay tuned for the president of St. Ansel College. He hosts debates and politics and eggs. Stay tuned.